All right. Well, just getting started here. Just trying to get everything up and running. So, YouTube Live, we're on Twitch Live as well as Facebook Live. So, I think we're about there. Just trying to arrange a few more things here. All right. Daniel the Adjuster. Getting ready to fire up, get things started. It's almost like I should have that sign like right here and sticking it right there. Have it right there so everybody can see it. So you just never know. Never know who's coming on. So you got to hold a sign. It's like I blast it here for now and then hold it on my head or put it off to the side. Who knows? All right. So you guys come on in if you want to talk. We'll get started here in a little bit. 3 more minutes. All right. Daniel the Adjuster. Daniel the Adjuster. Daniel the Adjuster here. Just getting started, trying to get everybody in here. Whew. How's everybody doing? So is the chat working in YouTube yet? You guys send me a message, say, hey, let me know if it's working. Let me know if it's working. Just say, hey. That way I can know if I have any technical difficulties. Anybody send me a chat. Let me know if you can send a message. We were having some technical difficulties the last time, and that's why I was sending everybody over to Twitch, because they have a very good platform that seems to be working just fine. YouTube is struggling at times, so all right. Let's see if it's working. You guys gonna send me a note? Somebody send me a note in chat. Let me know if it's working. I don't see anything yet, so send me a note on YouTube in chat. Let me know. Let me know on YouTube if you can chat. Chat, send me a message. I'll let you know if I can see it. I don't see anything yet, so it doesn't look like it's popped in yet. So let's hope it's working. Otherwise, I don't know what's wrong with that thing. I know Twitch seems to be working. So yeah, somebody in Twitch. I just saw you come in there. Shoot me a message in chat. Make sure it's working. Daniel the Adjuster here, and we can make sure I can read your messages in chat. It's kind of silly if I'm staring at a screen and nobody's talking to me, so that won't be very good. So shoot me a text in the comment section and let me know if you're there. Just say hey, so I can see if the chat is working. Alrighty, and anyone who has a question, feel free to ask one. I'm an insurance adjuster, been one for this will be my 9th year. Yeah, 9th year coming up. Got 2 people in Twitch. Shoot me a text in Twitch. Let me know if the chat is working. That way I can respond back to you if it is. So we were having some YouTube problems with the live stream. For some reason it wasn't working, so I wanted to see if we could get this thing to work better in Twitch. So let me know if you're there. Say hey, and we'll get started here in a little bit. I'm an adjuster. Been one for about coming on my 9th year, working in insurance. Shoot me a question in the comments if you'd like to talk about anything that you'd like, and we're happy to answer any questions that I know. If I don't know an answer, I'll tell you. It's always good to find out new questions and new answers. I always love to learn and learn new things. So if you guys have any questions, shoot me a comment. I know Twitch typically is working, so if you guys wanted to go over there and shoot me a text in that, I know that chat room is working good. I haven't seen a single chat from YouTube yet, so I'm not sure that's working yet. I hope it is. It doesn't look like it at this point. So I don't know. And my glasses are glaring pretty bad too, so I don't know. This is a bad day for glaring. Bad day for glaring. Should I turn down this light just a smidgen? Maybe it's too bright. There we go. That's a little better. I don't know if you can still see my eyes there. Yeah, see all the lights are still flashing away. But anyways, you guys leave me a comment. Let me know if the chat is working, and we can get started with any. Oh, there we go. Lavelle, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you for making sure my chat is working. I was so worried about the chat in this stupid YouTube that it wasn't working, so I wanted to make sure somebody was leaving me a note. So, well, good. So how are you guys doing? A couple days before Thanksgiving, or is it tomorrow? Oh, I can't keep track. No, I got one claim tomorrow, so one day and then Thanksgiving. So it's really slow. Today, it was actually kind of fun. I did a video today in the car. I'm actually kind of enjoying those videos in the car because they're a chance for me just to, oh, so YouTube sends out alerts late. Yeah, they sure do. Hey, Corey, how's it going? Welcome back. I appreciate all your comments. I really do. Yeah, so I was in the car today, and I was actually a long drive. I had two very long drive claims. I think the first one was an hour and 20 minutes away, and the second one was about another hour or so, and then about an hour home. So it was a long day of driving today for only two claims, but it was kind of cool because I'm going to upload a video about what my life is like in the car, because I really, really enjoy driving. Now, I'm sure there's guys out there that say, I hate driving. This is the worst thing in the world. So, well, you're going to have to watch my video because it's actually quite informative, but it also helps you to understand kind of where my thought process is when I'm in the car, because I use that time to think. I use that time to evaluate my life, see if there's anything I can do better. So, the long times, a lot of times people will just, turn on the radio and just kind of get lost in the music and waste a lot of time in the car. But I tend to use that time very proactively, but also to my benefit. Thinking about even the bad things that I do, things that I was lazy on, or things that I could improve on. But then also on the positive side, it gets me ideas to think about things that I can share on videos, or things that you guys might want to learn. So it's just a great time for me to talk and think to myself. But I'm posting a video. So anyways, I recorded this video. It's actually terrible quality because the sun was flashing through the camera the whole time, and it was terrible. But so don't judge me on the quality of the video because it was pretty crummy. But it's got some good content in it, so I'm going to have that uploaded hopefully tonight before we're done the evening here, and get that in before the holidays. So anything you guys got going on in your life? Have you guys been pursuing some leads for finding work? I know the firms slow down. A lot of people are taking vacation, so you may not get them on the phone. But what's really great is if you've got a couple messages waiting for them on Monday morning next week, because a lot of times they'll take off Friday and the weekends. But if you had a couple messages left on their phone for them, I know that's a great thing. They constantly hear from you. They constantly have messages from you. You're seeming eager And VAS Adjusting School. I don't know if I've heard of them. What does the VAS stand for? Or is that just their name, VAS, VASS, or is it VAS? I don't know anything about them. Let me just look them up here real quick. Maybe they changed their logo. A lot of times these new schools, I don't know. Oh no, Veteran Adjuster School. Okay. 98% job placement. Cat adjusters make 70 to 100,000 in 6 to 9 months. Interesting. Doo. Well, let's see how much they charge. How about that? That's the biggie. What are they going to charge for this school? One of their first lines says, "There's training facilities or schools all over the country that claim to make you an adjuster. Most of them for under $100,000. Don't buy it." So that's not a good sign. It means that this course is over 1,000. So, anyways, sorry. That's not a good line to put in your webpage line there. That's kind of crazy. And they don't put it. So it says, "How much does it cost?" And they don't put any cost. The tagline for the school is, "How much does it cost?" And you can't even find the price. So that's not good. A company that won't tell you the price of their school. I don't know. So first off, by Guy Grand. His name's Guy. Guy Grand. Okay. Let's see. Training. Yeah, just checking it out here to see what they're charging. But I can't believe they don't tell you the price. Licensed in Arizona. Okay, so that's not really good if they're only licensed in Arizona for post-secondary schooling. Oh, there's the guy, co-founder, managing director. Guy's primary responsibilities are to inspire, guide, and ensure innovative progress towards achievement of 20 years in the insurance industry. What we do. They only take 9 people at a time. Okay, well, Well, I'd be worried about how much they are charging. That's, to me, is probably my. They do say that you'll work in as little as 6 to 9 months, be field ready in 6 weeks. $100,000 a year. That should never be something that entices anyone because that's very low. You can make $100,000 with pretty much no experience, or very close to that. So it's a desk adjuster makes 34 $35 an hour, 10 days or 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. That's $108,000 a year with no experience, pretty much no experience. In fact, a lot of the people that came to the desk adjusting job that I was in, auto, when first they had no experience. They lied. There wasn't a single one that had any experience. And so they're making $108,000 sitting at a desk knowing nothing. And they learned it. They learned it probably in a couple, 3 weeks or whatever, just looking stupid and asking the trainers a whole bunch of questions. And the trainers also, would come over to me and say, they don't have any experience. And I'm like, I could have told you that. So, anyway, so paying somebody for an adjuster school, I didn't go that route. Okay, so I don't have a lot of experience to say yay or nay as far as adjusting schools. So that's the thing that it just it kind of makes me worry just a little bit when I hear that people are charging over $1,000 for a school or a course, and then promising you work. That's a tough. Like if I took somebody on, okay, let's put it this way: if I took somebody on and mentored them and gave them the training and whatever we'll charge, I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying is if I did, there is no way I could promise them work. I just couldn't do it because it's not really up to the school to get you work, because all they would be doing is potentially representing you to a firm and saying he's gone through this course, he's passed the Exactimate certification, he's sat with classroom hours for 40 hours or whatever it happens to be. He's been out on the field with us 3 or 4 times during inspections. That, yes, that might be good training, but to promise you work, the firm could still say, we're not interested, we need 2 to 3 years experience. So, so it's a tough, I would say that would be a very tough thing for that vast school to promise placement. And for you to sink your money into that person thinking that there's a guarantee. Now, they may have a guarantee, but, I don't know. I don't know. It just, it's hard to promise anybody work in this business because, and it's not, and I would say in this business, it's not really who you know either. I scratched everybody's I know, and it didn't work. It was all just timing. It's perfect timing and persistence and bugging these people and then being available and willing to do anything that they ask. Any type of adjusting. Like my first gig was auto adjusting. I'm a property guy. I'm a house guy. And the only thing available was auto, State Farm Auto. Okay, I'll do it. I didn't have any experience. So I took the first one I could. And so that's kind of what you have to be willing to do. And the same thing is that when I was looking for daily claims after I had been a desk adjuster for a while, I talked to the firms that I was working for and basically said, I really want to do daily claims. Where do you have a need? And I hate to say it, but they sent me to Louisiana. It was the worst place I could ever be. It was not. I was in New Orleans. I mean, it was a nasty place. And all my claims were in New Orleans. And, I don't know if any of you have been there, but there's a lot of homeless, there's a lot of drugs, and there's a lot of alcoholics, and it's a really, really nasty place. Nasty place, all the time. And tourists go there thinking it's great, but prostitutes on every corner, it's a terrible place. And so here I am going into the city and doing these daily claims for an insurance company that really wasn't paying a whole lot. But the reason why, you turn down LA or Louisiana for PA, I would too. So, but that's what I'm talking about. I went because I wanted an in. I wanted to work. And what's funny, guys, I was only there 3 months. 3 months. And they saw my work, and I said, really, I don't want to stay in Louisiana. Do you got anything else somewhere else? And so, and that, and it was just like that. It was kind of like I basically did catastrophe work at any place they wanted me to go. Oops. And yeah, I'm not saying Louisiana is not a place to have fun. You certainly can have a nice time there. I just wouldn't want to live there, any long-term place. People say stuff about like there's something in the water or whatever because people are just really strange. And it's also island time is another word for they call it. People are just really slow paced. They don't have any time to do anything. There's lots of free time. You can't get, anyway, it's just, you can't get anybody to do anything. So it was just hard. It was a hard place to be. But I used that opportunity to jump into the daily claim business, and it allowed me an opportunity then to go somewhere else. So that's kind of what I was saying is that if you guys are looking for an opportunity to find work, you have to be willing to say, okay, I'll go. I'll give you 3 months and I'll go do it. Or if it's a desk adjuster job and you have no experience, and they say it's in Arizona, guess what? Pack up, go to Arizona for 3 months. And just use it as a chalk up to experience. Like I went to a catastrophe in Abilene, Texas. I don't know anybody who knows where Abilene is, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's about 2 hours west of Dallas. And It was really fun because it was a very, very small town. I was learning, so I wasn't really looking for, the super high paced, out of control kind of thing. I was looking to get some experience in a cat for hail claims. And then I did a terrible job. I was a terrible adjuster. My file reviewers hated me. I turned in a crappy product, but I learned an awful lot. So that was kind of like I went with a company that was out of Texas, and they were desperate for people because everybody was going to Dallas, and they didn't have any adjusters. So I was in the right time with no CAD experience, and I had Exactament 1 and 2 certification, so I knew the program. I just didn't know all the the stipulations with the insurance company I was working with, and how to write reports and all this stuff, other stuff that was all the finesse side. I didn't know how to do it, so I did a really crummy job. But they got me on their list, and now they call me still, and it's kind of weird. I mean, they got a record that so really, in the end of it all, the managers move on. So the person that you were actually reporting to during that cat event, they move on. They never remember you, and they just look at their resume sheet of yep. Oh, this guy, sorry, my iPad keeps falling down here. So they just look at their resume sheet, and the sheet says, "Yeah, Daniel went on a catastrophe with our company a while back and did a good job." Well, whether I did a good job or not is relative, but to them, they were able to at least look back at their history and say, "Yeah, he's worked for us before." So if I ever wanted to go work for them again, I'm sure I can get some work. So that's kind of how it works: is you get your feet dirty on something that's terrible. I mentioned I think in the last live that what if you got back in the day when the Exxon Valdez oil spill happened down in Louisiana or wherever it was. Everything's covered in oil, and you're having to inspect all these things. That would have been a nasty catastrophe to be a part of. But they were down there for almost a year. I mean, I remember talking to some of those adjusters, and they said they were deployed for almost a year. And I'm thinking, and doing what? And this one girl, she told me, she said, I sat in a trailer, and all we did is waited for people to come into the trailer and submit their claim to us. And her job, I guess, was kind of like an on-site desk adjuster, but they never moved from the trailer. So they played cards, they listened to music all day, and waited for somebody to come through the door. And then they all acted like an adjuster when they showed up, and and then that was it. But it's just there are some really strange stories about what people got experience doing. But hey, when you can put, hey, I worked the Exxon Valdez oil spill as a CAD adjuster, they don't know what you did. They don't have a clue what you did, but you get to put it on your resume. And that's kind of how it quickly builds into a very impressive resume over a period of time when you keep popping in to 3-week CAD events, and you get to put that down. I worked this storm. I remember Hurricane Irma. It was down in Florida, but the blunt of it was in Miami. There was no way I would have gone down to ground zero in Miami for the Hurricane Irma. It was Category 5. Total mess. I was in Jacksonville, and all we had was 150 shingles off of somebody's roof, and everything else was in the town was going like normal. So we had some areas that were really bad, and some others were medium, and some were very light. And I got like 100 claims. And so I'm sitting there being able to put on my resume that I worked Hurricane Irma, and I got 100 claims. But everybody's thinking, oh, Irma, oh yeah, that devastated this area. And I'm like, it sure did, but I wasn't there. So, but that's what I would say is stay away from ground zero because it's a mess. I worked Hurricane Michael down in Rockport, Texas, ground zero. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. I saw a house that was totally about a $3 million beach house that literally had been turned on its piers and shifted completely off its piers. Nuts. And I'm having to write this stupid house. But it was a mess. Inside, there was more water inside than you could possibly imagine. And I'm sitting there calling up my manager and saying, this thing's a total loss. What am I writing? There's nothing here to write. This is totally, I mean, the whole stinking thing's crooked on its piers. So anyway, so ground zero is not fun. It's a mess. And then there was no power anywhere. There's no water anywhere. There's porta potties everywhere. There's Red Cross and Blue, all these different places bringing in food. And I felt guilty taking it because I'm sitting there going, well, I'm not really the hurting ones here, but I'm 2.5 hours from my hotel. The closest hotel I could get was 2.5 hours. So at that point, I'm driving 2.5 hours in, I'm writing claims as I'm driving in, and I'm writing claims as I'm driving out. Somebody was driving the car for me, and I'm just sitting in the car writing claims on the way there and on the way back. And so we had 5 hours of drive time every day just to get into stinking Rockport to go see 5 or 6 claims a day. So crazy mess, crazy mess. So you guys got any questions? Anybody thinking about what anything you're thankful for? You just want to tell me what you're thankful for? That's part of what my video was today. Is just being able to reflect back and say what you're thankful for. And I'm thankful for the head start that three guys, mentors online, gave me. Just the head start into this business, where they taught me stuff. They answered my questions when I had them. They were willing and able at any time while I was on a catastrophe. Um, oh, thanks, Corey. I appreciate it. Um, I think that's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because they made such a big difference in my life. Even though they're not practicing insurance right now, they all went off and did other careers. I am super thankful for them, because I can remember sitting in Abilene, Texas, calling up one guy and going, "My file reviewer is such a jerk." I'm like almost in tears, and basically just not knowing what to do. And he's on the phone saying, "This is what you need to do. Just do this, and this. You're missing this. You're missing this." And so he's just walking me through the estimate and telling me exactly what I was missing. And it was just 100 miles an hour. Like, wow, light bulb came on. I was so stressed I couldn't see it, and then he's just like down to earth and just told me what to do. So I did it, and I got rid of that stupid file reviewer, and he wasn't bugging me anymore, and passed on and did another claim. So Daniel, you said you're thankful for Exactiment Mobile. Tell me why. Um, what way do you use it? Do you use it on the iPad at work? Do you like? Tell me how you do it. Yeah, it looks like Lavelle's asking about it too. So now you're on the spot, Daniel. Scott, is you got to tell us what is so good about Exactiment Mobile iPad. Okay. And so do you draw them? Do you draw them on site, or do you write the estimates on site? What do you do? Or do you do them in the car, take pictures, and sketch on site? Very cool. I have never. I actually have. I've tried it twice and I hate it twice. So I know I know some guys have done well with it, and I bought a really nice iPad to try it, and yeah, label pictures. Yeah, I could see how that would be helpful. Um, yeah, it just to me, I don't know. It's just a different learning curve for me. Maybe it's because I've just been so used to the desktop version, doing it for so long. I'm kind of a creature of habits, and learning new things seems a little stressful for me. And the reason being is that it would take me so long to start into the new system, because I've developed like my system that I have. I literally don't deviate from it at all. And I'll tell you guys, this is important for you guys to figure out. So, Daniel, if that works for you, then totally awesome. Just keep doing it. You'll become a pro. Not quite good enough to write the full estimate by the end. I do like doing my estimate in the desktop. Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is so when you develop those skills, you're eventually going to get faster and faster and faster at it. You're going to know exactly where the buttons are to push. You're going to, just like kind of like when I'm on the desktop, I already have my mouse hovering over the. In fact, I hate the mobile version, like this new online version, the X1. I absolutely detest it. Absolutely detest it, because it is at least half slower than the desktop version. So what I mean by that is we downloaded the software in 28 onto our computer. And I bought a super, really powerful desktop computer that would scream through this program. I mean, just literally faster than I could click, it would go from page to page to page. I literally am sitting here like 4 seconds waiting for this stupid page to load every single time I change a page. And that's because it's, and I have a terabyte internet. So it's not my terabyte, or it's not my, or a gigabyte internet. It's not my internet. It's it's truly just the program, just whatever their servers are, it just takes too long for it to load the program to go from one, and it has lots of errors. Um, anyway, so don't get me started on X1. So X1 to me, it was a huge downplay, or basically a back step from the desktop version. So quick keys are easier in the desktop, mobile, and online. Have navigated around two for things and macros. Okay, yeah. So yeah, like I said, there's lots of things in the online version or the iPad version, mobile version that are beneficial. So here's where I come from, is I can't seem to justify the amount of time that I would have to be in their home while I'm writing that estimate. Because because that's what Exactament wants us to do, is they want us to be able to be on site and write those estimates and do everything right then and there. Sketch it, take the photos, label everything, write the estimate, and do it all right while we're in their home. And I just can't see that. I've seen a couple of the remediation guys that come in and use the mobile version, and they're there for at least an hour in these people's houses. And I'm like, no way. I'm not going to spend an hour in this person's house. And most people will not feel comfortable with me hanging out in their house even for a half an hour. So, what I like about the way that I do it is that I go in and I'm literally, if I'm doing an inspection, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does take about an hour to do that. Daniel says it takes about an hour on average. So, what I do is I walk into the house. If I have any type of water damage or whatever, I'm literally the biggest water damaged house. I might be in there 30 minutes because I'm literally just taking really, really good photos. And what I mean by that, guys, is you do your broads and you do your mediums and you do your close ups. And then you do that again, broad, medium, close up for all the damages that are in the area. And when I get home, yeah, I might have 100 pictures, 150 pictures on some of these really bad water losses. But there's literally nothing that I can't see by the time I blow up those three pictures on a big screen. I got a 24-inch monitor. I got two of those. So um, if I want to see damage, I've got the broad, the medium, and the close up, and I can see everything. So I can write it all from home. I can write everything with all the details. So I don't really have to, I don't spend a lot of time documenting all the damages except for maybe my linear footage of baseboard that was removed, maybe a square footage of drywall that's been removed. Like if you have a big hole in the roof, you kind of want to take your disto, disto, my measuring tape. Hey, you're welcome for the videos. You're welcome. So on your disto, so my Leica disto, there's a link in my description about which one I use. It actually has an a function tab on it that allows me to. It's a laser measurer, and so if I'm doing a measurement on drywall that's in the middle of the room, I just take one measurement, I click on it, I hit the function button, I hit it once, it takes that measurement, and then I turn it and I do the length of that drywall that's missing as well. So I do the width of the drywall that's missing, the length of the drywall, and it'll tell me the square footage of that drywall that's missing, and then I'll round up a couple feet or whatever for the edges in case they have to recut it. But the disto does that. Oh, thanks. You like the day in the life videos? That's cool. Yeah, I like doing them too. They're kind of fun. You'll laugh at this latest one. I have one that's coming up tonight. It's really funny, but it's just really bad quality. But it was while I was driving down the road, so it was fun. But yeah, so you can use that disto really helpfully. So like when I'm writing on my page, I go, 25 square foot of drywall, 18 feet of linear baseboard. I might and then all the other things like your cabinets and all that you'll draw out on the sketch, so the sizes of those, because you got to measure for the sizes of the cabinets or whatever, and that'll get you all your shoe molder and thing. But whatever's missing from the house from when the remediation company has removed, that's an important number, because that's the number that that team is going to be putting on their estimate and billing the insurance company for removal. Okay, so remember that. Remediation company is coming in, they're writing an estimate for all their drying time, their dehumidifiers, their tear out, their content removal. Um, yeah, the disto does work really well with the mobile version of the Exactment. You're right. So so the thing is that they're going to be writing an estimate for all the removal of the water stuff, and so if they remove 10 feet of base, you've got to write for 10 feet replace. Now, the insurance company doesn't say logically, like a builder or a contractor would say, is that I'm not going to make a splice at that 10 feet. I'm not just replacing 10 feet. I'm probably buying a 12 footer, or I'm going to the next doorway or whatever. A lot of the insurance companies will not allow us to write for those extras. I hate to say it, but I had a big problem at the start writing those estimates for actual cuts of wood, meaning, hey, this is, no one's going to splice in the middle of this board. They're going to use a full piece, and they're going to go from doorway to corner. They're not going to splice it in the middle. So I would write for the whole thing. So now I kind of sneak it in, because I want to be honest with the customer. I don't want to sit there and them, there's an 8-foot cut and there's 4 foot left on the wall. I'm not going to write for not a 12 footer. I'm going to write for the 12. So in order to be self-employed, how do I go about getting work on my area? How do you find work? Okay, that's a pretty loaded question. I would recommend watching some of my videos. There is definitely information practically in every video about how to find work. But typically, yeah, self-employed is really what an independent adjuster is. And so you want to, you kind of treat yourself as self-employed. You're a self-employed independent adjuster. So that's pretty much what you're going to do. Finding work, you're going to have to go through the firms. The firms are the only ones that can talk to the insurance company or can solicit work. Another word for them is a producer. Okay, I thought about getting my producer's license for a reason. And I'll tell you why that reason is I could solicit to the little mom and pop insurance companies that you see down the road, like I don't know, ABC Insurance Company or whatever. These little ones you've never heard of. You could literally, as a producer, I could walk into that room or walk into that place, talk to the owner and say, hey, who's doing your adjusting? Do you guys need a local adjuster? I live right here in town. Would you like me to adjust some of your houses and, all the damage? And you'd be surprised how many of them have said, yeah, the guy that we're using is pretty crummy. Yeah, give me your information. And so I've thought about doing that, but I know a friend of mine who does it. He says it doesn't happen all the time that he can find work. The reason why that is good is you make 100% of the money. You don't split it with a firm, because now you're acting as a firm. So you technically are the firm when you act as a producer. So those firms that you're signing up for work, those are producers. They have a producer's license, not an adjuster's license, but they're a producer license, same as a real estate agent. They're the only ones that can interact with the insurance company, and that's a producer. So that's the next step. So get tired of being an independent adjuster and you've been one for 20 years. Yes, you can have both all the time. So I just have to put on a different hat. So Lavelle, basically as I walk into that private insurance company, I got a hat on that I'm the producer. I'm the owner of my company. I am soliciting work for me. I'm 100% me. All the work stops at me. All the buck stops at me. We have our own in-house file review system, which is me, which I don't tell them that. But I have an in-house accountant, which is me. I have anyway, so you could technically walk in and present yourself as the one-stop shop for them. They don't have to know how big you are. They don't have to know any of that. But you can solicit business. And then tomorrow, I could be working for a firm and handle those just like normal. So that's what I hope to do maybe one day, is when I get kind of tired of the rat race of the independent side. What I mean by that is there are people trying constantly to lower our prices. So that's why I've stopped working for some of the insurance companies I work for or used to work for, is because they would lower their fee schedules. And that's just not fair. We're doing the same amount of work and they keep lowering our fees. So those are the people that I choose not to work for. And in fact, I had a story. I worked for this one company. I did, I don't know, 8 or 10 claims for them. They were really crummy, overworked me to death, and they were paying a lot less than everybody else was. And so finally, I just kind of had enough. I was just like, this is really hard. This is stressful. Your file reviewers are asking 3 or 4 more times for me to retouch these estimates, and it's just not going well. So I just told him I was too busy to take on any more work. And so he asked me about 2 or 3 more times, and I finally just said, you know what? Honestly, I don't have the time. I've got these other people. I got to make priority. I gotta put my focus on them. So he says, well, do you know anybody else in the area that's an adjuster? And I actually did. So I gave him his number. And so anyway, so he calls me back, this other adjuster, and he calls me back about a month later, and he goes, man, don't ever refer my name to somebody else. And I said, well, honestly, everybody's different, and it may work out for somebody versus another, but I knew he was looking for work. So I said, yeah, why don't you, give him a call? And he basically said the same thing I did, is that these people were hard to work for. So he dropped them, and then sure enough, a month later, that same firm called me again and said, do you have time? He said, we got a couple in your area. And I'm like, no. so so it was just, but he was an example of someone that was not paying the going rate. And I think the other adjuster told him, you're paying too low for this. Your rates are not even comparable to everybody else. And and so when he talked to me the third time, he said, the other adjuster said my rates were low. And I said, yeah, actually they are. So he, I guess, just didn't know what the going rates were. I don't know what the problem was, but he didn't believe that his rates were low, and they were. So it was not a good arrangement for him to be trying to solicit work from adjusters who didn't want to work for him because he wasn't paying enough. So those are the ones that you eventually weed out of your list over time, and you basically say, you know what, there's some others here that are paying better. I think I'll just stick with them, and that's kind of how it works. So, like, I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but I can talk forever. So, you guys have to interrupt me with questions or concerns, because if you're waiting for a pause, it's not going to happen. I'm thankful for everybody here. I think we were getting into that about Thanksgiving. So Daniel said he said he was thankful for Exactment Mobile. That's really cool. I was thankful for the guys who gave me the head start in my life as an adjuster. And I've actually been very thankful for some managers that I had along the way that really helped me hone my skills to be the better adjuster that I was. So that's important too. I feel like if you can get good managers and people that are really care about what you know they like their job, and then they care about you being successful in your job, then it makes your job easier. I mean, if you get I mean, I've had some bad managers too, and they're hard to work for, but they move on. So that was something wanted to encourage you guys about, is if you do have a manager that you feel like is just driving you nuts, um, just hold your breath, because eventually that manager is going to move on. That manager is going to find some flack with some of the other people in the management area they work with, their coworkers or other people like that. They're going to run into some slack, and eventually their character is going to doom them as well. So eventually they'll move out. So a lot of those bad managers um, actually end up going and leaving and going with another firm because they think they know it all, and they end up moving out, and then they find out that it's the same everywhere. So just be patient with those bad ones, because they eventually go. And then I have some really good ones. I was disappointed to see a couple of really good managers leave and go off to another firm. And then I got this new manager, and I didn't have a clue if he was going to be any good. I was real hesitant because this other manager was really, really super. And he ended up being great. I've never met him. Again, still haven't met probably 50 or 60% of my, actually more than that, probably 80% of my managers I have not met. Just been on the phone talking, and I've talked hours and hours with these managers. So that's what'll happen. And unless you go to the conferences and see them, you really won't, you won't see them. So, got a question about how long is my day? So, like today, a lot of drive time. So I started. My first claim was at 9. So I was out the door um, about quarter to 8. So it took me about an hour, quarter to get to the first one. Then it was about an hour and a bit to my second one, and then about an hour and a bit to get home. So I was home just before noon. By the time that all came about, I was home about 11:30. And I think I mentioned that in other videos. I try to get home by noon. That's my goal. Hopefully to get home by noon or 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock at the latest if I had 5 claims. So on a day like today, I was able to write up. There were 2 water claims, relatively simple. I think I didn't have more than 30 line items, 40 line items probably in each estimate. So I can write those estimates and the paperwork and the whole thing in about an hour each. So I was done my day probably by about 2 o'clock, 2:30. So on a day like this, when you only have two, but had a lot of drive time, I'm done by about 2. If I had that same 2 locally, then I would be home by 10:30 because you're literally, you're right close by, only a 30-minute drive away most of the time. I could be done my day by 1 in a day like that. Do a video on write ups. You mean like report writing? Is that what you mean, Corey? Report writing? Okay. Yeah, I should probably do that. The downside to that is that each firm has their own general loss report. So that's really what the terminology is a general loss report. And that's actually very sensitive information. So they don't want us, I know that they would not want us sharing that document. Um, so what I mean by that is the neat thing is they also have, do you guys know about tokens? Who here knows about tokens? Ever heard the term tokens when it comes to Exactament? Anybody? Nope. Okay. Anybody else? Tokens? Anybody know what tokens are? Nope. Okay. Well, let me go over that with you. Okay. So tokens are a magic kind of symbol phrase. Most of the time, they're located in square brackets. So in the square brackets, and then they put a line in it. They might go insured underscore main or first, and so it would say insured's name underscore first. And what that token is Exactament reads that and has and they tell us those tokens. So Exactament has a whole list of tokens. I've got that list as well. Um, but it's pretty common. Anybody can find it. It's pretty simple. But so what it is that when I write a report in Word, which is typically where I write reports, all I have to do is say, okay, met. So here's the words. I'm writing a sentence and I go, I met with, and then I place a token, and it might be, um, it'll say insured first, insured last, insured address, or whatever, and all these different tokens. That correlates with Exactament to be able to pull that information from the claim using those tokens. It's the coolest thing. So your reports basically can self-populate um, all the information that's in the the claim itself and Exactament. So the date of loss, the date of reporting, the cause of loss, the day I contacted the person, the day I inspected it, and the day I wrote up the report. And all these are dates. They all just pre-populate. The mortgage company populates. the insured's address, phone number, all those things can populate so that when I create the general loss report, I literally am creating a Word document packed all full of these tokens that now can self populate whenever I create an Xactimate document. So now what I do is I take that Word document, upload it into Xactimate under the Documents tag, and then basically I populate that report, and all that information now dumps into the Word document. And now I just fill out the basics like, okay, I had 25 feet of broken baseboard, so on and so forth. It's basically it fills in all the tedious stuff that I would have to type in that I could make a mistake on. Data loss, data reporting, all those things. I could make mistakes on them. So this token allows it to be populated correctly. So when I create that general loss report, each firm for each insurance company is supplying us with that Word document with those tokens in it. Now, that being said, most of those reports are very basic and very inadequate for me. So I have the whole list of other tokens that I have now added to that general loss report to populate a whole bunch more things in it that are not part of their general loss report. And that's because I don't like typing things. So if I can make things speed up by adding more of these tokens in to populate more items, then that saves me time in the long run. So I know that was really complicated, and I'm sorry. But one of the things that's really cool when I'm labeling my photos is that I put a token address bar in my second photo. Okay, and I saved it as a note. I'll have to show it to you one time, guys. But it's really cool because then when you print that photo report, the second photo actually pre-populates the address of that person's, the actual full address. So I don't have to type any of that. Once it's in, I just put in that code in there. I drop it in, copy and paste it in, and then when they pre-populate that photo report, the second photo, when you're taking a photo of the numbers on the house or the numbers on the mailbox, now at the bottom in the description is a full address of the insured, the address of the street name, city, zip code, the whole thing populates in 1 second. So I don't have to write that in at all. So that's where the tokens become very helpful. Is once you start to learn them, then you can now start to create your own tokens, like your own documents. And I also do that with my invoicing. Is I put in all those pre-populated numbers, like the total, what the total cost of it was, how much my invoice should be. All these tokens all go in as well. So that's really technical, guys. But that's kind of like what I am. Is I get into these little quirks where I go, can I make this faster or better or easier? And that's one of those things that I've just figured out I can use and get better at. So sorry to bore you on that one, guys, but that was level level 12 Xactimate. So, and most people don't know how to do it. So it's kind of something I just got on a YouTube video one time, figured out how to do it, and then when they send us these GLRs, the general loss reports with the tokens in it, I'm like, what the heck are these things? And so I just wanted to figure out what they did. And so then I went to Xactimate and kind of studied up on what their tokens were doing, and they explained it all for me. And so I actually got really knowledgeable about that, and that was a good thing. So it's one of the things you got to do. Got to learn as much as you can to get as best as you can on things. So any other questions? I think I'm going to get out of here at 9. So we got about 10 more minutes. I want to get my video uploaded before the end of the night so that you guys can see all the funnies that I did while I was driving today. So it's just like I said, I was driving for so long, I just had nothing to do. So I was just videoing it, and the sun was terrible. It was in the camera, so it's like I said, it's terrible. It's a terrible video, but it is kind of funny. So I'm trying to think. So on the slow days, you just have more time to do the things that you want to do. So spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, do the maintenances on car stuff, do the around the house. We were down the street today. A lady down the street from us lost her husband a couple weeks ago, and she's got this massive property. I think it's like 20 acres or something like that. And the pine trees are constantly losing all their branches, and they were all piled up at the road. And so my dad and I, we went over there and just helped her clean up. She didn't know we were doing it, but we just went out there and picked up all those branches and got a whole truckload in the back, and just took them out to our burn pile, and just we didn't tell her anything. But those are the types of things that you can do when you have a little free time, and that's what we're here for, is to do the best we can to help other people and be a blessing to others as well. I got a question about how many days I work. Um, this is a pretty slow year for the winter, more than normal, because we normally have a hailstorm in the year sometime that will take us through the winter. But prior to this, for the last 7 or 8 years, like when I was, yeah, actually it's been almost nine, I guess, 9 years. I've worked 6 days a week. I think I could count the amount of Saturdays I've had off on two hands in 9 years. So I work every day except Sunday. I've only worked one Sunday. Even on a catastrophe, I do not work Sundays. I need that day off just to recoup. So 6 days a week. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. There are some days, like today, was a very short day for me. A lot of driving, not a lot of work. So, but even today, 6 hour day. So, by the driving and the writing the claims. So, typically, though, if I have 3 to 4 claims, which is probably a pretty normal schedule, that I'll see 15 to 18 claims a week is pretty normal for me. That's going to be an 8 to 10 hour day. That to get three to four. Most of the time, three is about an 8 hour, 8 to 10 hour day. And that's just, I'm very thorough when I do things. I take a lot of photos, and so I probably do way more photos than most people do. So I'm just really thorough, and I just really want my estimates to look good. I take a lot of extra time in my estimates. I title all my portions, like I do ceilings, and I put a nice big bold title, and underline it, and I'll do all the ceiling work. Then I'll do the walls, all the cabinets, all the flooring. So I title everything, make my estimates very pretty, so that they're easy to read for the reviewers and also um, the desk adjuster. So I just take a little more time writing those. I really label my pictures well. I don't cookie cutter labels to my photos, so they're very well laid out. Very rarely will copy and paste one to the next. I might do the room copy and paste, but then what I'm seeing in that photo is very specific to that one photo, meaning overview. Okay, then closer up as we're approaching the damaged cabinet, and then the close up is damaged edge, water damaged cabinet, water damaged drywall, water damaged backsplash, whatever. And so I'll be very specific to label my pictures, very detailed, as to not leave anyone guessing what's in that photo. So it just takes more time when you're labeling 100 photos. It just takes a lot of time. And then I write my reports to make sure that they're very clear, that anybody could read them. I have some things that I've pre-made as far as trying to speed up a little bit of those writing of those reports. But generally speaking, every house is different, so a lot of the cookie cutter stuff just doesn't work. So, but yeah, in a catastrophe, meaning even if I was local and I had a big hailstorm, last year, this same time, I was running 6 days a week. I was running 14 to 16 hours a day. And I'm not kidding, guys. Crazy, crazy busy. 6 days a week, 14 to 16 hours a day. I'd start at 6 in the morning. I'd be done by about 11 or 12. So it was a long, long haul for about 3 months. And that was a catastrophe. That was basically, we had 2.5 inch hail in a town called Garner and in a town called Apex. So we had two storms, and they basically were just full house destroys. All the siding, broken windows, broken vinyl, the frames. So we were replacing all the windows. Uh, Obviously, every gutter, every downspout, all the fascia, all your fencing, your decking boards, barbecue, all your light fixtures. I mean, it was a horrendous storm. So the amount of damage, it literally was everything in the house that you were looking at was damaged. So when you go to write an estimate like that, it takes an enormous amount of time. It takes you about 2 to 3 hours to write that estimate because there's just so much stuff. And so you got to be fast. And that's what I was trying to say is you got to get these skills for Xactimate down pat so that you can um, just be fast and efficient and don't let anything slow you down. Drawing the house, drawing the floor plans. These things are the tedious, get it done, get it out of the way things. They should not take you long. I mean, I can draw any roof for 15 minutes and be done. And drawing an entire floor of a house, 20-25 minutes, something like that. Very detailed, everything, cabinets, you name it. I mean, door swings, all the stuff that's in there. Um, I guess I should create about 50 emails to practice on X1. Yeah, we mean 50 emails. Yeah, it's just a X1 is not much different than 28. Just the fact that it's slower. It's just slower, and it really does affect the speed that you can write things. And they did it more for the mobile side of things, so I get it. But they don't care about what we think. So all right, guys. Well, we're right about 9 o'clock, close to it. I really appreciate you guys coming out. Really, really do. And this has been fun. And what I'm going to do is I'll give you a heads up again when I had some time. I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough time this week, but it does look a little quieter. So maybe we'll shoot forward next Saturday or Sunday or something like that, depending on how things go. But thank you guys for coming, and I really appreciated you. And you're welcome, Corey. Thank you. And guys, please do me a favor. Always leave a thumbs up or a comment in my videos if you watch something. It does help, believe it or not. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you guys too. And it really does help to drive those numbers up on those videos. So I really appreciate it, guys. But you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Best to you and yours and your family, and just take that time to enjoy them, be thankful for them, because when they're gone, you'll never know how much you miss them. And that's another story. I'll have to tell you that. I lost my oldest son. So, yeah, when they're gone, you're like, that was a ripoff. I should have had him for longer. But, yeah, so just remember that. Always cherish the ones you have. You never know when they'll be gone. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Daniel the Adjuster signing off.